Greetings, tax tip lovers, and welcome to this week's top 5 tax fixes in just 5 minutes. Come, gather round, people, to ponder the difference between acceptable tax planning and unacceptable tax avoidance, and how it might impact small property businesses. Everyone has the right to arrange their financial affairs to minimise tax liability within the law, and property tax planning in the UK goes back at least to the Roman army's Vindolanda site on Hadrian's Wall, when from 85 AD to 370 AD, long, narrow houses were built end on to the streets to reduce their occupants' exposure to property taxes based on street frontage. And rumour has it that HMRC is seeking to use new retrospective powers slipped into the Finance Act 2020, re the loan charge, to go back and check tax returns for Vindolandan property owners. HMRC publishes annual estimates on the tax gap. That's the difference between the amount of tax that should be paid and what's actually paid. 35 billion, according to the latest available figures, which is apparently lower than any other country in the world. But HMRC has a demonstrable track record of being weak against the strong. Think Google, Facebook, Starbucks, and strong against the weak. Think 7 known suicides over the loan charge. So we need to consider the weakest category of all, those who own property in the UK, and that's you, tax tippers. Well, as ACDC told us in the year that Margaret Thatcher became the first female prime minister and Jeremy Thorpe lost his seat and maybe his dignity, living easy, living free, asking nothing, leave me be. Okay, here we go as we count down the top 5 property tax planning considerations. Static at this week's number 5 is taking everything in my stride. HMRC has published 55 spotlights, highlighting what it doesn't like. It's not the law, it's what HMRC doesn't like. Think of it like Kevin Keegan's "I will love it" rant. But unlike Curly Kev, HMRC almost always wins eventually. Check that out, by the way. It's on YouTube and it's priceless. Down at this week's number 4, don't need reason, don't need rhyme. Among schemes that HMRC has flagged are contractor loan schemes, property-based schemes used by property developers, employee benefit trusts, SDLT, and capital gains tax. Just inside this week's top 3 is a classic called Ain't Nothing I Would Rather Do. Figures produced by the Social Market Foundation suggest that auditing individual taxpayers costs £2,500 and brings in £10,000 to £15,000 in previously unpaid tax. So easy to justify. HMRC has historically targeted the small business sector, and they'll likely continue. A new entry at this week's number 2 is My Friends Are Going to Be There Too. In the 2020 budget, the government pledged investment in more HMRC compliance staff and aimed to raise an additional £4.4 billion, and targeted measures specifically include the property and construction industry. Staying at number 1 is the all-time classic Highway to Hell. It should be easy enough to comply, tax tippers. Properly plan for what's important to you. Maybe it's to construct your first business or your next deal, or to plan your retirement, or what happens when you die, or whatever. Then take written advice from qualified practitioners across the professions when appropriate, and make sure you're provided with detailed analyses of the tax implications of each of your options. Then discuss, decide, implement, review. Then rinse and repeat. Well, tax tippers, we're on your side. Rethink.Tax publishes on our website exactly what we do, everything, including precisely which structures we use, and they're there for all to check out, including the taxman. In our view, England needs a Ministry of Tax with a cabinet minister separately responsible for tax policy to restore the faith of the people of this country who are dependent on the public services that tax can provide, and to combat those who are dedicated to not paying it. Until then, sledgehammer, meet nut. Okay, that's it. And as we remember that in March 2019, HMRC carried out dawn raids on 1,082 UK homes, let's get planning now because there are only so many tomorrows. It's time to take action to sort your tax planning, and here's how. You can do nothing and stay in the exact same place and pay a shed load of tax unnecessarily, or you can follow the link above for a free power hour review with property tax experts who are ex PwC and ex HMRC, and will make your property tax planning like it was our own. And that's our take on property tax planning and why we believe you need to take action, tax tippers. All right, stay bright. Catch you again for breakfast next week. Sarah.